welcome, very warm welcome. So please relax, there's nothing you have to do. This session will run for about an hour, and there'll be a meditation, a short talk, and actually there are going to be 3 different meditations tonight, if we can fit them in. Also, if anybody would like to ask a question but would like it to be more private, then I've put a book on the table here, and you can write the question down anonymously, and I'll think about it and do some study and answer next week. And next week will be my last week. I'm not sure who's going to be next. We'll find out. So over the last 2 weeks, we've been exploring ways in which we can encourage ourselves to make meditation present in our days, and ideally every day. And last week we looked specifically at self-compassion. And I came upon something that Sharon Salzberg wrote on Instagram last week. And Sharon Salzberg was one of the pioneers, very early pioneers, of bringing meditation and mindfulness to the West. This really resonated, so I'd like to share it with you. She says, "All around the world there are so many struggling people, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed and helpless facing that reality. I want the trajectory of my own life, though, to be one where I don't avoid the suffering of others, but I work to be present and open-hearted and caring while caring for myself as well. I want to connect in love to not just the suffering, but also the strength and beauty of others. I want to connect as skillfully as I can with wisdom and discernment. I know that to do that in an ongoing way, I need to keep cultivating awareness and balance every day." I've learnt that the path of connecting in hard places is made a lot easier by the company of others who are also trying. I've learnt that giving goes both ways, and that those who largely dwell in those rooms can have a lot to offer those who largely enjoy more freedom. I've learnt that just like water, compassion is strong, soft, and immensely powerful. Most essentially, I've learnt that to continue to be worthwhile to myself and others, I need to be revitalized by finding a place of peace over and over again. From this place of peace, from the radiant calm of equanimity, many good things will grow. So, something she said. She says, I need to be revitalized by finding a place of peace over and over again. And this points very clearly to one of the many benefits of a daily meditation practice. Spending part of the day, even if it's a very small part, in a moment of calm and quiet. We make our minds familiar with what peace feels like and let it really land in our bodies, and this can nourish us and promote well-being. So I said this last week, I think the first week too, that my teachers recommend that when we first wake, we set our motivation for the day to not cause harm to any being, and as much as possible to help others, and then do a few minutes breathing meditation. And we looked at, last week, keeping it doable. You know, if we can do 1 minute and then 2 minutes and 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, building up like that, even we do a very short time, the more important thing is the repetition, that the more we repeat, the more we practice in a simple way so that we're likely to do it, the more that neural pathway in the brain is strengthened. And the reason that we find a place of peace when we sit down quietly and do some breathing meditation or just being mindful with what's going on around us, we find a place of peace because when we're focusing in meditation, being fully present in the moment, really focusing on the breath or whatever, it means that we're putting aside for that moment any negative thoughts such as worry, anger, impatience, hatred, attachment. And these states, sometimes they're called, I've heard them called psychic irritants, but these states are called negative simply because they lead to unhappiness, they lead to suffering. And meditation in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition means literally making the mind familiar with. So the Tibetan word is gom, and this room is called a gompa, so it's a meditation hall where we become familiar with positive states. So we're making the mind familiar with positive states such as peacefulness, equanimity, kindness, wisdom, focus, concentration, and so on. And these are called positive thoughts. These are labelled positive thoughts simply because having thoughts of equanimity, of kindness, of joy, and so on, lead to happiness. A meditation, this state of mind, is ideally operating off the cushion at regular times as well as on the cushion. So formal sitting meditation helps us to get to know what's happening in our minds and makes us familiar with these peaceful states. And then, hopefully, we carry that attitude of non-judgmental, relaxed, alert, wishing to help. We carry that kind of attitude with us into the day. And we need to be really patient with ourselves because it takes a really long time. In my experience, I guess some people learn very quickly, but it's taken ages for me to kind of feel any shifts. And at first it might just be an aspiration. I wish I could be patient, I wish I could do this meditation. I wish I could be peaceful. You can see that if you're more often in a state of equanimity, of calm, having a happy mind, then things are going to go better with our children and our parents and our colleagues and so on. So sometimes it's described as like, how slowly it is to develop abs, particularly at my age. When you go to the gym, building up new muscles takes a really long time. You have to do it very, very slowly so you don't hurt yourself. And it's the same developing our compassion muscles. We have to be patient, take it day by day. So tonight I'm going to try and fit in 3 meditations, because that's really what we're here for. And we've done the breathing meditation for the last 2 Mondays, where we're focusing, bringing the mind into the body, becoming aware of the body, and then focusing on the breath. It's such a fantastic meditation. And tonight I'd like to share a different version of breathing meditation that still has the aspect of focusing very clearly on the breath, but it's kind of more active. It's more like, I don't know if any of you do yoga, but pranayama, the various ways of yoga, it is a yogic breathing. And because it's more active, because we're kind of doing more things, we're less likely to fall asleep, which is good. And it's used traditionally to clear energy channels in the body, which brings more clarity to mind. So it's called the 9-round breathing meditation. Have any of you done this? You have a few? Cool. Okay. So 9-round breathing is one of the particular methods that Lama Yeshe, who established this centres and over, I think, 160 centres worldwide, this is one that Lama Yeshe taught his students to help prepare the mind for different meditation practices or for listening to the teachings. And it can be used from the beginning stages of meditation, so for beginners like us, all the way through to much more advanced practices. And I remember doing this meditation with Lama Yeshe in 1979 at Kopan Monastery. And Kopan Monastery is kind of like the mothership. So that's where Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche started teaching Westerners. And this was when I was completely new to meditation and Buddhist philosophy, and it kind of blew my mind. Lama Yeshe used to call it a nuclear explosion of the mind. And quite recently I saw His Holiness the Dalai Lama teaching the same meditation on YouTube. It's from some years ago, but it's where he teaches a particular kind of Tibetan yoga and then moves into this 9-round breathing. So, also Adele Hulse, who wrote Big Love. I don't know if any of you have come across Big Love, which is the biography of Lama Yeshe, the most wonderful book, so inspiring. One that I look at on a regular basis, and whenever Adele gives a talk she usually does 9-round breathing, I think because it makes her feel that connection with Lama, who was an extraordinary teacher. Okay, so I'll describe it to you, and then we'll go through it maybe a few times, and you see how you feel about it. So we're going to, like in some pranayama, we're going to use an index finger, whichever side feels more comfortable. You work it out, and first of all, it's got 3 kind of stages. So first of all, we gently block the left nostril and breathe in through the right. Then block the right and breathe out through the left. And we do it all together 3 times, so another 2 times. Block the left, breathe in through the right. Block the right, breathe out through the left. Block the left, breathe in through the right. Block the right and breathe out through the left. And now we are going to do the reverse. So we're going to block the right nostril, breathe in deeply through the left. Block the left, breathe out through the right. Block the right, breathe in through the left. Block the left, breathe out. Oh, I've got confused. That always happens. Block the left and breathe out through the right. Block the right, breathe in through the left. block the left, breathe out through the right. Then we breathe in through both. Exhale. Breathe in through both. Exhale. Breathe in through both. And exhale. So, okay? That was okay? Okay, cool. So this completes the 9 rounds. So it's 3 rounds of breathing in through the right to begin with, 3 rounds of breathing in through the left, and then 3 rounds of breathing in and out through both. And what I'll do is I'll lead another one, and then we can do it quietly to ourselves. And if at any stage you get lost, which is completely to be expected because it's something new, when you get lost, you just go back to the beginning. So breathing in through the right. And if you find it too much, if it's just does your head in, then just go back to just focusing on the coming and going, the feeling of the coming and going of your breath. That's absolutely fine. So we take the most comfortable upright position for your body now. And just scan very briefly through the body, noticing what is there, noting any sensations. Not trying to change anything, but just noting how we're feeling in this moment. And check your mind. How are you feeling right now? And accepting what's there. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're peaceful. Maybe you're happy. Maybe you're feeling a bit down. We just notice it in a kind way. We're not trying to change anything, just being present for you. And we just focus our attention for a few moments merely on the feeling of the coming and going of the breath. And we cultivate now an altruistic motivation for the meditation session. Think that we're meditating not just for our own individual benefit, but we are taking the time to meditate and develop our minds to become a wiser and kinder person, able to be of benefit to all beings. Eventually. And now we'll move into the main body of the meditation. So with the forefinger holding the left nostril closed, Inhale slowly and fully through the right nostril. Then move your index finger to hold the right nostril closed and exhale slowly and fully through the left nostril. Repeat 2 more times. Holding the left nostril closed, inhale slowly and fully through the right nostril. Move your index finger to hold the right nostril closed and exhale slowly and fully through the left nostril. Once more, holding the left nostril closed, inhale slowly and fully through the right nostril. Move your index finger to hold the right nostril closed. Exhale slowly and fully through the left nostril. Now reverse the process, holding the right nostril closed with your index finger. Breathe in deeply through the left nostril. Move your index finger to hold the left nostril closed. Exhale slowly and fully through the right nostril. Repeat 2 more times. Holding the right nostril closed, breathe in deeply through the left nostril. Move your index finger to hold the left nostril closed. Exhale slowly and fully through the right nostril. And holding the right nostril closed with your index finger, breathe in deeply through the left. Move your finger to hold the left nostril closed. Exhale slowly and fully through the right. Now inhale slowly and deeply through both nostrils. And exhale. Breathe in through both. And exhale. Breathe in through both. And exhale. So we might try the process just quietly, beginning with the left nostril. And when you've completed the 9 rounds, you can relax your concentration. So, how did that go? Did many people get lost? Or it was okay? Cool. Okay. So now we're going to add a little bit more. This time, when we're doing the inhalation and the exhalation, when we're doing the exhalation, we imagine all unhelpful states of mind leaving the body. So if you think now of anything that's real for you, like if you're anxious or you've been living with depression or you're feeling irritated with people in your life or sad, any kind of difficult emotion or feeling, on the out-breath, you visualize it completely leaving the body. Okay? So we'll do this again quietly, again beginning by blocking the left. So we're breathing in through the right, out through the left. Then in through the left, out through the right, and then both. Okay, but visualizing on each out breath that all negative feelings, all anxiety, problems completely leave your body. Okay. So when you've finished, again you can relax. And the third part is that we visualize white light. When we're breathing in white light, and you can imagine that white light coming from a source. So it can be a sphere of white light that represents all of the compassion and wisdom in the universe, or you can imagine it coming from an awakened being from your own tradition. So you can imagine Jesus or Mary or Buddha or whoever is the wisdom being in your tradition. So when we're breathing in, we're breathing white light, which is completely purifying, and when we're breathing out dark smoke, so all the negative emotions in the form of dark smoke. So, is it clear? Yeah? Okay. And then, so at the end, when you've done the 3, both nostrils, you feel that you have completely rid yourself of any negative feelings, and you've completely absorbed white light from the wisdom beings. And then this will generate a mind of bliss, and then for the last couple of minutes we'll concentrate or focus on that feeling of peace. Okay? So, beginning blocking the left. White light in, black smoke out. And we feel for a few moments just resting in a feeling that all troubles have left the body and mind, completely gone, and completely filled with radiant light, purifying light. And the mind feels peaceful and clear and awake. And finally, we dedicate the positive energy from this very important meditation. Any insights that might have arisen, we dedicate to the well-being and happiness of ourselves and all living beings. Okay, so please relax. Have a stretch, rub your feet if they've gone to sleep. So I'm wondering how that felt for you. If there was some resistance to doing it because it was a bit busier than the meditation we normally do. So I forgot to mention that at the beginning of any meditation, you can, if you know people in your life who are doing it tough, who are having a hard time, you can, right at the beginning, dedicate that practice for them, and then at the end as well, and it makes it even more potent. Okay. So if you'd like to practice that at some stage, that would be good. So meditating at the beginning of the day, and the simple breathing meditation is excellent, is a very positive way to set the tone for the day with presence and with kindness. And we need to check it out for ourselves, keeping the sessions short to begin with, and just see if it does make a difference. If you do it for a week or 2 weeks. I've been doing a particular meditation that's called body scan, that we used to do in healing group, which is particularly good for anxiety. And I've been doing it for the last 3 weeks and have every day for 30 or 40 minutes. And I've found it's been incredibly helpful, just the repetition, keeping it going. But we have to check it out. We have to see if it does help. If it doesn't help, then you don't do it, you know. But you do need to do it for a little while to see if there's any change. So how do we bring the mind that we cultivate in this formal meditation practice, the mind of openness, curiosity, warmth and connection, how do we bring it with us into our days in order to make skillful choices and be kind? Because, you know, once we launch into the day and you get busy, it kind of flies out of the brain. Lama Yeshe said, I've got an app on my phone where Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa things come up. This came up today and it seemed really good. He said it's important to understand that true practice is something we do from moment to moment, from day to day. We do whatever we can with whatever wisdom we have and dedicate it all to the benefit of others. We just live our life simply to the best of our ability. As His Holiness the Dalai Lama points out, almost every time he speaks, we have a responsibility to our brothers and sisters on the planet, and to remember our interdependence, that everything we do has an effect. And a big question is, you know, are we living in our communities in a way that adds further aggression and self-centeredness to the mix? Or can we intentionally work to bring more understanding and kindness and less judgment and so much needed sanity to the world? Do we really understand how our own words and action can cause suffering? And there's a story, I'm sure many of you know it, and maybe it's a bit of a cliche, but cliches often come up because they tell some truth. But there was a First Nations American grandfather who was speaking to his grandson about violence and cruelty in the world. And they knew, you know, a lot about that and how it comes about. And he said it was as if two wolves were fighting inside his heart. One wolf was vengeful and angry, and the other wolf was understanding and kind. And the young man asked his grandfather which wolf would win the fight in his heart. And the grandfather answered, do you know? The one that you feed. Yeah, thank you. So this is a challenge in our everyday life, to make a commitment to ourselves and to the planet and the beings on it, to work with our habits of grudge holding and taking offence so easily and wanting our own way a lot, and develop some trust in our basic goodness. Because the Buddha pointed out that our resentment and self-centeredness, as familiar as we are with them, are not our basic nature. They're temporary and can be lessened and eventually completely removed. And that's how you become awakened. And from the Buddhist point of view, the nature of the mind is naturally spacious and luminous. And we can get a taste of that when we're doing sitting meditation. So we have natural warmth, we have a capacity for love, to have empathy and experience joy. These are a natural part of being a human, and they can be grown. So coming back to the question, how do we remember to bring our good intentions, our best selves to those phone calls and work and family and all the things that happen in a day? And again, thinking back to Healing Group, which used to run at TI until 2 years ago. It finished, and the Healing Group ran for 35 years and changed a lot of people's lives, including mine. One of the exercises that was emphasized because of its immediacy and simplicity is called metta practice. Sharon Salzberg, the quote I read before, it's a practice she does very beautifully. And you can Google her, and all these wonderful practices are available on the net. So metta practice is loving kindness practice, and it can be done as a sitting practice or an on-the-run practice. And as a sitting practice, we prepare for it as we would any meditation, so coming into our bodies, sitting in a comfortable, relaxed manner, and so on. And then we, in a very intentional way, mentally recite some phrases to ourselves, sitting quietly, mentally repeating things like, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, may I be peaceful, may I be at ease. And again, we have to think of phrases that are meaningful for us, that mean something to us, because some phrases are going to feel corny, some, maybe some phrases feel a bit, irky, So we have to think of ways of speaking to ourselves that are meaningful. For example, may I be free of anxiety, may I be healed, things like that. And we allow ourselves to sink into those intentions that they express, wishing ourselves or others happiness. And if feelings of warmth and friendliness and love arise in the body, if you start to feel it at a more bodily level, you then focus on that. And this is a technique that's done with transformative meditations like analytical meditation, where we're cultivating compassion. So in the body of the meditation, if a genuine feeling of compassion and warmth arises, you then focus single-pointedly on that. And Rick Hansen, who's a psychologist, meditation teacher, who I really like, he calls it taking in the good, and points out that in our days we tend to, he says we're Teflon for the good and Velcro for the bad, so we tend to stick to and think about the things that are bothering us, and the things that delight us kind of pass by very quickly. So he says very wonderful, very helpful for the brain, for the mind, when something good happens, when you have a deep, wonderful conversation with a dear friend that leaves you feeling at peace, to really take it in. It's different from being attached to it and not wanting it to go away. It's not that at all, but just really letting it land in your body and mind. So then, after repeating these phrases for ourselves, may I be happy, may I be safe, may I be healthy, we then think about somebody we love. And visualize them in front and direct these to them. And then to maybe people that are neutral, and then eventually to people who we find really difficult. Even them, especially them, the precious gems in your life who help you to practice patience more than others. Really and genuinely, not with the raised eyebrow like me, but may you be healthy, may you be happy, because if they were happy, they wouldn't be so difficult. Anyway, so the idea is when you're sitting on a tram or sitting at the bus stop or in the queue at the supermarket, Aldi with those really long queues, instead of getting cranky, looking around at the people that you can see and really directing this thought, may be happy, may be happy, may be happy, without being creepy about it, because if you kind of, it might be a bit weird, but just doing it in a very relaxed way. May be happy, may be well, may be free from anxiety, as much as possible, until it becomes kind of a repetition in your mind. So rather than saying, oh, that person looks terrible, thinking, may be well and happy. This person, just like me, wants to be happy. And just repeat and repeat and repeat. This is one of Bob Sharple, who started Healing Group and ran it for 35 years. This was one of his favourite practices. And there were quite a few people, lots of people came and went from Healing Group, and lots of them said that doing this metta practice was transformative in their lives. And, many of these people were extremely ill, some approaching their death. And so anecdotal evidence, at least, that this practice was helpful. And then an old friend who was at the first of these Monday nights reminded me also of the metta whilst driving practice that I'd shared with her a few years ago. And this is where, you're driving, and when someone cuts in or stops too quickly or doesn't indicate, whatever the one is that drives you nuts, instead of swearing or shouting or beeping or, having that kind of aggressive attitude, just thinking, stop, may you be happy, may you be happy. And Ingrid, said that it really totally transformed the way she drove her car, because she, by stopping shouting and swearing and so on, then your mind has to become more peaceful. So that's a good practice. Okay, the last meditation, which is another very friendly and easy technique, also from Healing Group, is called the 3-minute breathing space. And are some of you familiar with this? So the 3-minute breathing space came out of the mindfulness-based stress reduction course that John Kabat-Zinn got happening many, many years ago. And we'd practice it week after week after week at Healing Group, and Bob always recommended that we do it 5 times a day. And you think, 5 times a day, but if it's 3 minutes, it's still only 15 minutes, But I think even if we practice once a day, very, very good. So if you think of an hourglass, this is how the meditation goes. So it starts with a kind of broad attention, it narrows down to focusing on the breath, and then it broadens out again, and it takes 3 minutes. So we might just, I think, do it and see how we go. And what I will do, because I remember it's very easy to forget how the meditations go, so I will print out the meditations for next week and do another list of websites or sites where there are people leading it, which can be very, very, very helpful. Okay. So again, when the time to do the 3-minute breathing space is maybe when we first come and sit down at our desk, or again if we're waiting or sitting in a park, whatever. And the purpose of it is to help us to step out of automatic pilot. When we're in the day, we're just kind of doing tasks. And so it's to move again, bring ourselves back into the present moment and to slow down, to create more space in which to respond to challenge with greater perspective. So if, if you're in a difficult situation, maybe in a very difficult conversation and you need to move out of it, you can say, Thich Nhat Hanh always recommends this, that you say, at the moment this conversation is going to be too difficult for me and I'd like to meet again later and we can do it again. It's actually difficult to actually do it, but with practice possible. And then you go away, do the 3-minute breathing space and calm down. It's also, it can give us kind of time to reflect on why, if we want to make that cross phone call, why do we want to make that phone call? And what's going to be the result of that? To give us space to think, why did I say that mean thing? Or for that matter, why do I want to have that drink or smoke the thing or whatever it might be? So it just creates some space in which to look. Okay, so sitting comfortably again. And for the first minute, we notice what's going on right now. Whatever thoughts are there, whatever feelings or emotions right now, sensations in the body, just checking in to what the weather pattern is inside us right now. And we try to let go of the tendency that we all have of wanting things to be different from what they might be right now. So just letting things be as they are right now in the mind and in the body. And now for the second minute, gathering your attention, we focus on the breath down in the abdomen as we breathe in and out. Not trying to make the breath do anything special or be different. Just focusing on the sensations of the in-breath and the out-breath. And if the mind wanders, just gently escorting the attention back to the breath and the sensations of breathing. Just breathing in, breathing out. And then for the third minute, expand attention to the body as a whole, as if the whole body could breathe right now. Aware of the sensations in the body, from the top of your head to your toes. How are your feet feeling? The sensations of the skin. Aware of the whole landscape of sensations in the body. And see if you can allow the sensations to be exactly as you find them. A sense of opening to what's here right now. A sense of coming home to the body, allowing ourselves to be exactly as we are. And then we begin to move again, maybe move the body. And this is the end of the 3-minute breathing space. So before we finish, we can make a dedication that all we've done tonight, including just choosing to turn up, which is amazing. We dedicate it all to the happiness of all beings, ourselves included. And we might think about trying even the metta practice, the loving kindness practice tomorrow, in order to make our minds gentler and kinder. And when you're ready, you can relax. That kind of felt busy to me, that hour. But these practices are useful because they are so contained and so short, and we can do them. So have a go, check it out, and see if it makes a difference. Are there any questions about anything tonight, or anything about Buddhism, or what you see in the room, anything at all? Sorry? Well, it's a bit of a sad story. It's called the IJD. If you go onto the FPMT website and put in the search engine IJD, maybe if you just go to apps and you put in a job description, it should come up and you can download it. The problem, it's a wonderful app, but the problem is FPMT is not putting money into upgrading it. Why is it? It's going to be too expensive to upgrade it on a yearly level for Apple phones, but I think it might work on those other phones. Yeah, the inner job description. It's fantastic, and you can set it to remind you 8 times a day to be mindful, and it'll be with a quote from Lama Yeshe or Lama Zopa. And it's also got a method of keeping a record of how we're going during the day. So you can check up, it's got the 6 perfections, the 6 bodhisattva attitudes, and 6 aspects of speech. But it explains it all. It's very, very wonderful. And if you look on the FPMT website and... Bye-bye. Welcome. And look for the inner job description, there's a really fantastic explanation of the complete practice. And it's one that Lama Zopa Rinpoche recommends highly, and I do the practice and recommend it highly too, because next week we must look at the end of the day. I haven't got to the end of the day yet, about when we think about what's happened during the day and then dedicate the merit, apply the 4 opponent powers, so having some regret if we've hurt somebody, that kind of thing. But to do that practice properly, we have to know what it is we're regretting or what we're purifying. And so if you kind of keep track of maybe unskillful speech, it's very helpful then as a practice, as a complete practice, to look over the day, think about it, think, well, that phone call was unkind, I could have refrained, I didn't need to say that to my children, whatever. to think about it and then do a remedial practice, but we'll talk about that next week. Yeah. So, beg your pardon? Sorry. Yes, but they're not going to upgrade it, so it'll only work for a while.
I see.
Yeah. Have you got it on your phone?
I just found the Gasuba.
Oh, cool. Yeah, okay.
It doesn't work. It works on
Yeah, but would you give away an Apple phone? I wouldn't. Not that I'm attached much, but it is a drawback. But there's a way of doing. I'll bring in my IJD book. There's a way of just doing it very simply in book form. So you just write it. Phone's easier, but yeah, okay. So thank you so much for coming, and hopefully see you next week. Have a lovely week, and yes, may you be well and happy. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you have no anxiety. And yeah, be safe. Wear masks. Yeah, if you are inclined that way.